r/AskReddit. What's the strangest punishment your parents ever gave you? Forced to smell dog breath. Because if we have to deal with the filth from your mouth, then you have to deal with the filth from its mouth. I got this on numerous occasions. It sounds silly at first, but it was anything but at the time. I begged them to give me anything but that. Like for swearing? My parents routinely took away my library card when I did something worth punishing, so I memorized it. When they caught on, they refused to go to the library with me for the duration of my punishment. So I started volunteering at the library once a week, so they had to take me. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Not really a strange punishment, but it turned out strangely, I think. When I was probably 5 or 6, something happened. Literally can't remember what I did to deserve the punishment that caused my parents to send me to my room with no lights allowed on and the door closed. I'd never been able to sleep with the door closed and at least a light on in the hall or something till then. This time, I just went to sleep after a while in there with no lights. And that was the last time I needed lights on or the door open when I went to bed. Worked out well from my point of view, Imo. Worked out well from their point of view too. I was deathly afraid of my basement, and the threat for not adhering to lights out time was being forced to sleep in the basements for the night. Anyway, I forget what I was doing, but I was up to no good one night. Probably reading comic books with a flashlight or something. I got sent to sleep in the basement and was pretty much up all night being super scared. It was threatened a lot, but I think it only actually happened once. I was the smartest kid. My aunt tried once to threaten me that the boogeyman will take me to the basement if I don't behave and eat me her. Can you hear him roar my 4-year smart mouth? Auntie, you know better. That's the boiler. She said I was super condescending and that made her quit. Then one day she broke a wooden spoon whipping my ass and I still tense up hearing the drawer clang open to this day. When I was 10, Mum would take my NES games for a week. When I was 13, Mum would take my SNES games for a week. When I was 16, Mum would take my blank floppy disks for a week. I didn't explain the mistake to her until I moved out. Dad made me splice together his old 8mm vacation films into a Vine-style highlight reel after I hurt his feelings by refusing to see Chef with him. Why did you refuse to watch it with him, and have you watched it with him since then? What did you think about his vacation films? If I cursed, my mom would make me go into the bathroom and say every curse I knew while looking in the mirror so I could see how ugly I made myself look while cursing. Well, I learned that if I wanted to curse with impunity, all I had to do was say ass and get sent to the bathroom where I could say any curse I could think of, punishment free, for as long as I wanted. LOL. Accidentally taught you venting coping skills. Neat. I would get grounded to the front porch because when I was grounded in my room I would entertain myself with literally anything, even lint from the carpet. So my dad finally had enough and made me sit on the front porch, and I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone except to say that I am grounded and can't talk. Random stranger walks by. Hi, I'm grounded. My dad said I can't talk to you. I got a bad grade on a math test in elementary school. As my dad dropped me off for the day, I quickly told him he needed to sign something, the test. He was so furious that even though I was already late for school, he drove the 2 miles back home, spanked me and made me walk to school. I was so late. I had to fill cut open tennis balls with pennies. I'm still not sure what that was about. I was innocent BTW. It's called a pitcher's ball. You fill a tennis ball with coins and tape it with duct tape. Makes the ball heavy so helps with training catching and throwing for baseball. How to make a pitcher ball. If I misbehaved in a car, my mom would lower the window and say that a bird would fly in if I'd continue to misbehave. Were you afraid of birds? Or just the thought of getting a bird smacked into your face at terminal velocity? Was the car free falling into a bottomless void? My mom was pretty old school, so she wasn't against spanking, which was my usual punishment. Strangest was when I made fun of my sister for wetting the bed, calling her a baby and stuff. My mom wasn't happy because I was making her cry and setting her back. So as a punishment she made me wear a pull-up whenever my sister had to. A lot to unpack there. That's what my therapist said too. Does the good doctor know of your username? I'm afraid he does. Me and my sister were fighting after I tried to steal some of her chili fries and she stabbed me with a fork. Dad took us out back and tied us up face to face with a rope. Told us when you figure out how to work together you will be able to get out. Did you work together and get out? After we stopped spitting on each other? Yes. Are you too, in fact, llamas? Yes, I can confirm. I am the mom. So convenient and specific. For some reason my parents allowed my brother and I to have a very basic bow and arrow which we were allowed to shoot at a cardboard box in the backyard. I, being very young and very dumb, crawled into the box while my brother was firing. Parents were not pleased, and to demonstrate how dangerous what I had done was, they made me lay on the couch for the whole day and pretend I was in a hospital bed. I mean, if you were an active kid and weren't allowed to move or play with toys, boring TV and bland food, I can see that as a punishment. Still weird though. This really just describes what I did today. If you had no TV then I could see it, but he was on the couch. So unless the family vacated the room just to perform this strange punishment, then I doubt it. I was not allowed to read unless it was specifically for school. My teachers stopped letting me bring books to class because I would finish my work early and read. I got the answers right and I wasn't causing trouble, so I still don't get why. My mom always told me I would end up in prison. As punishment, she would make me sit in timeout under an office desk with a slat back chair turned upside down on top so the back covered the opening like bars. Come dinner time she fed me hard rolls and water because that's what they serve in prison. I found out years later, while not good food, prison food is much better than hard rolls and water. When I was 16 I got caught shoplifting a CD. Thankfully they didn't press charges, but my father confiscated every possession I owned short of the essentials, mattress, blankets, clothes, and ironically, a $200 police scanner, still in the box, he didn't know about, and that's how I got into listening to police scanners. Edit. Scanner was shoplifted as well and I never shoplifted again after getting caught. When I was little, my mom's go-to punishment was to make me kneel on uncooked rice for about 15 minutes. Had to keep a straight back or else the time was increased. She did this because that was how her mom punished her and her brother. She eventually stopped using this punishment after she set some clear boundaries with my very controlling grandmother. She never felt right making me do it. My little sister never had to go through it. I kind of resented that for a while, but eventually was grateful she didn't experience it. Withheld dinner and I was only allowed to have bread and butter. My mother is a terrible cook, so I was super okay with this. I was always more the artist type. Didn't much care for throwing the football around or working on cars. I wasn't belittled or anything. My family let me do me, but my stepfather was an evil genius, and when I did something that was considered a minor infraction he'd give me the option of either going to bed early or staying up till my normal bedtime but having to watch sports with him in the living room. And I couldn't just zone out or read. He'd sit there and make chit chat about the game or try explaining the rules or the player's stats or something else I couldn't have cared less about. I'm 34 and we still laugh about that sometimes. Shit was brutal. To be fair, your stepdad probably wanted to spend time with you doing something he liked as well. If my son ends up not liking sports, not gonna lie, it would be really sad for me. Yeah, I will accept whatever he likes, but right now I do have hope of watching sports with him and getting happy exited etc when something happens. If your son doesn't like sports, you can come to my rec league hockey games and I'll pretend you're my dad. Sometimes guys' wives' girlfriends come, and if I score a goal, you can lean over and say that's my son and I'll point at you, which will confuse them because we're probably around the same age. My parents said I was playing too much Skyrim when it came out, so they took the router with them to work every day. Good thing you don't need internet to play an offline single player game. LMAO, my parents definitely did not understand technology and they'd do stuff like this but even less effective. Like they'd turn the screen off and assume that meant the entire machine was shut down and everything was lost. Or like everything was plugged into a power strip, so they'd take the power strip away but all the plugs and outlets were still right there. So one time my mom kept holding the off button down, but I was sitting there on the screen with the mouse and keyboard and a window would pop up asking whether I actually wanted to turn the computer off. So I just kept clicking no, leave the computer on. She could not for the life of her understand why it didn't work. I got grounded a lot. That's not weird, but my mom refused to call it a grounding. She'd just give me a bunch of individual punishments that added up to a grounding. Can't leave the house. Can't hang out with friends. Can't play with most of my toys. But if I told someone I was grounded, she got upset. I think maybe the distinction she had in her head was that I was allowed to leave my room and talk to my family members, instead of being kept in my bedroom like her parents' version of grounding. I was being a dong as a teen. I think I was 15, and tormenting my little brother by grossing him out. Stuff like burping in his face when he didn't expect it, making him smell my feet, etc. And he really hated it. It made me laugh and I called him a kitten for being grossed out so easily. After he came to her crying one day about it, my mom warned me that if I didn't stop, I'd be very sorry. I didn't listen. Worst mistake of my childhood. My mom ran a small doggy daycare pet grooming business. The next time I did this to my brother, she put me to work cleaning filthy dog kennels, without gloves, and without a scooper. Worse, she introduced me to what dog anal glands are, which groomers often have to express. Around 3 times a day that week, I had to express dog anal glands. I was not allowed to wear gloves. I puked every single time. She planned on the punishment lasting all week, but my bro asked her to let me off the hook after he saw how defeated and broken I looked by Wednesday. Why do so many of these comments involve animal fluids? There should only be so many. One time when I was super young, I didn't eat all of the food on my plate. My dad told me I was gonna eat it or wear it. I was full and I said I'm not gonna eat it. Then my dad slammed my head into my plate of food. Death was a very strange punishment. Started off odd, got violent fast. Either he was going to make you put the food in your pockets or something. Damn. My parents made me join my school's cross-country team because I quit the football team. They also made me join the basketball team and the debate team. I think they had like 3 ideas for punishment and just did all of them. Wasn't allowed to go trick-or-treating that year because I didn't lie to my babysitter about not having eaten breakfast that day. When I was preparing for high school, I sucked at writing, particularly long response essay questions. To mediate this, my dad spent a week having me write a different essay every day of the most simple and mundane tasks. The one that really sticks out in my mind was the first one: how to put a football away. By doing this, though it seemed inhumane at the time, I learned how to expand a simple thought into highly descriptive details and became a great writer throughout the rest of my school career. Whoa, that got interesting. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. Thanks for watching, mate. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more high quality content.